Hello and welcome to the show. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Dave Sheridan of Ascension Tree Care. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well also. Thanks
I'm
for having
doing
me
very
on.
well. Thanks for being the guest on my first ever podcast.
There you go.
Pretty
Save the best
exciting.
for first, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, we might have to circle back in 6 months and do it again, but
Yeah, for sure.
we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to start off the podcast every episode with a question, just to try and get some value for people who do listen to it. Before I introduce guests, etc. So the question is, and I'm going to crib off my cheat sheet here because I haven't committed it to memory as yet. The question is, in your opinion, what separates tree service companies that thrive from those that just survive? Do you have two or three things that stand out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first, and this is maybe just like business in general. It's chasing profit, not revenue. It's from a tree service perspective, it's sometimes easy to fall into the trap of like chasing these huge jobs. And you see the 8, 9, 10K job on the schedule, and you feel really good about yourself until you get there, and you realize, hey, I didn't budget enough time in on this. I didn't budget enough equipment, whatever it may be. And so it's not that you shouldn't go after those jobs, but just it's important just for us to focus on, really like we need to make sure we understand the profitability of that job before we submit our quote, because that we've definitely had a few where we're like, yeah, it's almost rather we didn't have this job, or we could have done like 3 trims and made more money than we did on that big job that was super stressful, super hard on our equipment, and super time consuming. So yeah, I guess chasing profit, not revenue, is I think that's the key that profit funds growth. And if it's what separates the companies that are just staying afloat, staying busy, versus the ones that are actively growing and becoming market leaders.
So I guess what I'm hearing is a bit more planning in the way you approach projects.
Yeah, I mean it's knowing your numbers, knowing what your true costs really are. And then, yeah, I mean, every time you quote a job, that's, I think, what's difficult about quoting tree work is you're kind of, you really are just doing the job in your head in advance. And, it's especially like from my perspective, kind of coming in from, outside the tree world. It's, that's a difficult thing. It took me a long time to really dial that in. I feel like I'm still dialing it in, candidly. And you're always learning new things every day. And it's very easy to underestimate the complexity of a job
And
when you're
is that
when you're
something that just comes with experience, or is it easy just to keep chasing those big jobs and not really thinking about it?
I think it does come with experience. Like a good example is, with big jobs, it's always like dealing with the large wood. That's usually the biggest time suck. Is you get a crane in there and you brush out the tree, and then like for instance, we had one job where I definitely underbid it, and it was the crane. We had enough stick to brush everything out safely, but we didn't have enough stick to haul the large wood out, and so we ended up having to fell the stem, piece it into. I mean, this is a massive silver maple, so we had to cut it into cookies, like thin enough, like 12-inch thick pieces that were just so our mini skid steer could even lift it out of there. So it would just took a ton of time because you're making a ton of cuts, creating a ton of sawdust, and then you still have to get rid of that wood at some point. So just
That's
little
pretty.
little things like that, and it's
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty cool. Okay, might dig into that a little bit later. So tell me little bit about Ascension Tree Care, your backstory, how things got started, where you started from, where you are now.
Yeah, so we're Ascension Tree Care. We started in 2023. We're a full service. We do everything tree related. So we do remove everything from removals to trimming to tree planting to we have a full tree healthcare division now. So we're doing soil amendments, fertilization, pest management, root collar excavation. Our vision is we want to be a one stop shop for our customers. That anything tree and shrub related, they can call us, and we're going to be able to accomplish their goals. We got started. I was in engineering software sales for better part of it. Well, for a decade, almost exactly, and just kind of was starting to get a little fed up with maybe the corporate lifestyle a little bit. Just maybe a little stagnant. I had good jobs, good career, worked with good people, but I just always kind of had the goal of starting my own business. And I just never really knew what that was, and kind of, maybe like paralysis by analysis in a lot of ways. And so one winter, we have a cabin in northern Michigan, and my dad, he asked me and my brother, who's my brother Dan, is one of my business partners. He's been an arborist for many years now, and so he asked us to come help him remove some trees up at the cabin. And I knew Dan was doing this, but I never really like saw him in action. And so we went up there. We did, I got to see him, dismantle these trees, kind of piece by piece. Got to do some of the rigging and some of the rope work, and just had a ton of fun with it. And was really left really impressed, just kind of with Dan's skills. It's kind of tough to imagine your younger brother being competent at anything, and so so I went home impressed, and I got into spreadsheet mode, and kind of started crunching the numbers and trying to think like, all right, how would this work? And I got excited about it and shared the numbers with Dan and our other friend Scott, who's our third business partner. And yeah, we decided to move forward with it, and kind of, yeah, I sold my house, moved across the state, and yeah, 3 years later, here we are.
Oh, so you were actually all in from day
Yeah,
one, pretty
yeah. I
much.
mean, yeah, it was yeah, a bit of a like burn the boats moment, I guess. I don't know if all in's the right. I mean, I was 100% all in on this project. I didn't like spend every last penny I had, obviously, but yeah, it was very, very much selling the house. Very much felt uh, like, yeah, this is put up or shut up
Yeah, that's
territory. Which,
huge.
yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that. I don't know. I don't like being half in on stuff
Hmm,
though. So
hmm.
it's I think that was helpful for us.
So how was the first year then? Because I think we talked when you guys had pretty much just started. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty early on.
Pretty early.
I
So,
think we had initial conversation maybe, and then
hmm,
yeah, the first year was interesting. I think we relied heavily on just like personal networks, and that kind of kept us going. And then I was managing Google accounts, and um, yeah, it worked decent for the initial part. But yeah, like personal, just leveraging our personal networks was pretty huge for that first year. Um, and it was also helpful. It was three partners, so we weren't having to. It was a little bit more flexible in terms of like, if we underbid a job, it wasn't like we were paying someone overtime.
hmm.
It was just we had a long day and it kind of sucked. Same thing if we weren't able to fill a full week, it was just we didn't get paid. So so that was it's not obviously not ideal, but we knew what we were getting into regarding that. But yeah, like leveraging your personal network. I mean, we weren't going out and like cold calling our friends and family. It was more just kind of putting it out there and just being like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're excited about it. And like our first job we got because I was at a like $5 burger and beer night, and people were like, hey, like just chatting, brought it up, like, so you're starting a tree service, like, yeah. yeah, going all in, and someone's like, oh, I have a tree I need to be removed, and so it's like it's kind of like that. Like you put it
Mm,
out there, everybody's got a tree that needs removed or trimmed, or they know someone usually that does. And when people see you taking chances, I think a lot of people want to help with that, and that's what we found at least, and it was huge for us.
mm. Was that a pretty stressful first year or few months, I guess? Because you got to buy the
Um,
equipment as well. You got to register the company. You got to do all those things.
yeah, it was a lot, but it was exciting, and you're almost too stupid to really be stressed out at that stage. It's I was blessed to make enough in my sales career that
Mm,
I was able we were able to get all our equipment lined up, pay for most of it, or really all of it, and then to have I had a bit of a cushion. So I mean we weren't really like too stressed making money wise, which was a blessing. And then Dan and Scott were able to do some contract work as well on the side. If we were slow, we have a pretty good
mm,
network of people, so they were able to just contract climb for them, to kind of keep everything afloat. So yeah, I
mm,
mean it was definitely stressful, and but I think it was the excitement, maybe the excitement maybe offset the stress in those
mm.
early days.
And what were some of the lessons that you learned in that first year that particularly hit home? Maybe in terms of growth, maybe in terms of you know, oh my God, we've been doing this for 6 months or a year. This is where we got to go.
I would say, like I underestimated marketing for sure. I think, and I actually, we have a customer that was a former like head of marketing at one of the companies I worked
Mm,
for, and so I knew her decently well. But I told her this story. I'm like, yeah, I just it's kind of funny through your sales career, like you just kind of assume marketing's going to be super easy because like you're just, especially at the top end of the sales chain, you're just getting handed leads and just you follow up on them, and you don't know what went into getting those leads, qualifying those leads. You just kind of you're just kind of spoon fed leads. And so I always just maybe thought marketing was going to be some easy thing that I could just pick up in 6 months to a year, and that was not the case. I mean, it's not that hard to get the phone to ring, but it's very hard to get the phone to ring in a cost-effective way,
mm,
is what I learned. So, like, long story short, is we just overspent on marketing a lot, our first year, and I know you've seen into that mess, as well too, and have helped right the ship, obviously, but. Um, yeah, we were just kind of spraying, praying, like Angie's leads, Yelp ads, Google, paid clicks, and it was just all over the place. And I mean, it fed us, it kept us busy. We didn't lose money, but I think that's getting that lead flow. Going back to the profitability, it's like to be profitable, you need to be able to price jobs profitably. And to be able to do that, you need to not be desperate for work. That's the
mm,
number one way it's so easy when you have no backlog to just sell it at a price that to win the job. But really, like the in an ideal state, I think the best, the market leaders, they're just getting enough leads that they can price it, where they need to price it, and they don't need to win 60% of their estimates. They just need to win 30%. And so yeah, I think for me, from my perspective, Dan and Scott would probably have different opinions because they're focused on different areas of the business. But for me, the marketing was the biggest, like, or the toughest challenge that
mm,
I faced, and we're still facing it. So.
mm. And is there a tendency? I'm just curious, listening to what you said there. Is there a tendency to cut prices to try to win the bid over the competition in the area, or is that something
Yeah,
you stay away from?
yeah. I mean, yeah. I'd like to say there's not, but when you're, especially in the early days,
Mm,
you're trying to win everything, and it's just, you're trying to stay busy, and then I don't know. I think it maybe took us like a year and a half to learn that, like, it's almost better to have the trucks at the yard than to go out and work a day and a half for some job that you only had like 3/4 of a day of budget
Mm.
on. So um,
Effectively, you're paying the client to do the work.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's just not. Tree work is such a tough job, and it's so hard on you, just physically, mentally, and it's very high liability, and it's yeah, it's when you start just pricing jobs just to work, the crew gets demoralized, your stuff starts breaking down, and the problems just start compounding, and so it's a recipe for
Mm.
disaster.
Mm. So what's in the first year, I guess, as you're growing, what's one of the major habits that you guys developed, or the systems that had the biggest impact on business growth, so you could go into the second year looking really positive?
Um,
Or is it that simple? Did you hit the first year and say this is just a struggle and we're going to struggle for years, or did you
I
did you?
think so. We were pretty quick to adopt a CRM system, which I think was
Mm,
very helpful. Like, it's kind of crazy thinking back to it. Like, the way we would quote jobs. So I wasn't starting quoting jobs, or I didn't start out quoting jobs just because I was so green. I had no idea. I didn't know how to climb. I didn't like I was just getting competent, being a groundie. And so really, like, our day would look like we do a full day of tree work, and then Dan and Scott would would tag team because they've never been in a sales role either. So that was
mm,
kind of the struggle. Is I've done a ton of sales, but I don't know how to do tree work, and they know how to do tree work, but they've never done any sales.
right.
And so they would kind of just tag team and just drive around and do bids after a day of work, which is brutal. Um, and so then they'd call me, and I'd write up like a contract on like Panda Doc or whatever, write up a proposal, send it over to the customer for e-signature, and then we'd at first we didn't even have a CRM, but we very quickly got a CRM so we keep our customer records straight. But it didn't take long. I think probably towards the end of our first year, we got set up with like an actual legit CRM, and I think doing that early was a really really smart move. I know there's like really big companies out there that are still kind of just using like Google Calendar and some pretty basic CRM tools, and they're
Mm.
massive and obviously really skilled, but I think it'll pay. It has paid dividends, and I think we'll continue as we grow.
So yeah, so you're getting away from just using email on a phone. You're getting away from using just a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
even, right?
Yep. Yep.
So for people out there that don't use a CRM now, what is a CRM and how does it help you in the tree work
Yeah.
itself?
Sorry for the acronym.
No, it's all
It's
good.
a
Everybody
customer.
should know what a CRM is.
CRM stands for Customer Resource Management, and it's just how you manage your customers. And so our CRM, it houses all our client contact information. It's where we schedule estimates. It's where we schedule create proposals. It's where we schedule our work days. And so it gets complex. It gets it's a lot to manage when you're just doing removal and trimming. But now this year we've started our plant healthcare division, and it's like I don't know how it'd even be possible to manage a plant healthcare division without one, because it's so much more complicated. You're dealing with renewals, you're dealing with multi-year projects, and yeah, I'm sure people did it because they were doing plant healthcare before computers, but I don't even want to know how much time and man hours that would have taken.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, now we're talking about the plant healthcare. We spoke about that a little bit on Friday, and we had a conversation which I really wish we were recording because it was amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about the plant healthcare and what that is, why you guys are doing it, and what it's doing for the company as opposed to just a regular tree work like removals and so forth.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I mean, plant healthcare is it's kind of like a buzzword in the tree service industry. There's tons every single conference you go to, there's going to be a plant healthcare seminar, and it's going to be filled with people that are tree service owners that are interested in firing up a plant healthcare division. And the reason they're interested in it is because the economics is very clear. It's super high profit. It takes one guy in a truck to go out and fulfill this work. It's super high profit margin. It's recurring revenue, which standard standard tree service. Our cut crew, what we refer to like trimming removal. I crunched the numbers, and after our first year, I think 13% of our customers reordered from us. Um, and I know that gets a little higher as you're in
Mm.
business longer. But I was pretty happy with that number because a lot of it, a big portion of your cut crew customers, you're going to remove a tree, and that might be their only tree, and so they're never going to need you again. And so it's one of those things. I think everybody's intrigued in it just because the economics of it are so good and it just makes so much sense. But it's a hard thing to implement because you need to have like a really technically sound arborist who's an expert in tree biology and more so like an expert in like treatments, which it's not like it's always changing. It's we used to, I think the industry used to be like very like foliar spray, so spraying leaves for a lot of
Mm.
treatments, and now what we're seeing is a movement towards injections, trunk injections, which I think is a great move, and so it's constantly changing, so you have to stay on top of it. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's you know from what we're seeing, we're just getting started with it, but it's increasing our profit margins like by a lot. And like we just went and sat down the numbers, which we just got through our summer soil amendment round, and we had our best month ever in July, and I think plant healthcare was a huge contributor
Mm.
to that. And for reference, July is usually, or at least historically, and maybe historically is not the right word since we've only been in business 3 years, but the first 2 Julys we've had have been pretty slow,
Mm.
and so having our best month ever in a July is
That's
pretty
great.
pretty encouraging.
That's
Yeah.
great. So, yeah, so regular tree work, you're sort of chasing project after project after project.
Yep.
With plant healthcare, that gives you an opportunity to get almost an annual subscription, so you can look after
Right.
people's trees.
Right, and from a competition standpoint, there's a lot of competition. There is competition in plant healthcare for sure,
Mm.
but it's a different type of competition than tree work. It's like the one thing about like the cut crew. It's you're competing with everybody from a truck and a chainsaw all the way up to like the super mechanized tree
Mm.
removal savants that are they have like $2 million worth of equipment and can remove a tree in a quarter of the time it takes us to remove a tree. And
Right.
so it's yeah, I mean it's important to set yourself apart and try to differentiate yourself in those quotes. But I think what I like about our plant healthcare division is it allows us to kind of like build that credibility as the tree like experts, like we're
Mm.
the arborists, and who are concerned about tree preservation and can not just removing trees or um, you know kind of being the pay and spray
I'm
company.
guessing it creates loyalty with your customers as well, and people, as you get more customers for plant healthcare, you get more tree work from those people as well, and then of course
Yeah,
you
they're
word of
they're
mouth
different.
referrals.
They're very different in terms of like how you like operationally. So they're completely different like
Mm.
operations, but they do feed each other. They're symbiotic. And what's interesting is like the reason like we got started with it is because we rank pretty well for arborists in our local area, and we get a lot of calls like, "Hey, do you guys treat this? Do you treat that? Do you treat this?" And historically, we've just been passing them along to a guy that owns that does operates a little bit north of us. And I just started crunching the numbers and like guys, like we should just be doing this. Like, there's no
Mm.
reason for us not to do it. We have the marketing channel built. Like, why would we not
Mm.
do this? Like, and so yeah, we that was kind of the made it an easy decision, I guess.
Mm. Cool. And I'm also intrigued because you started to take you do free quotes. You also have arborist consultations, which are a fee to get a certified arborist to come out, and
Yep.
you're also taking um, effectively what is video quotes. So moving now we're really moving into the modern era as well, because there are so many tree service websites out there that almost discourage people from getting in contact with you.
Yep.
How are those things working for you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, our overall goal, like from a customer experience standpoint, we want as little friction as possible to work
Mm.
with us. And that's something that we're constantly working to improve. It's far from perfect. But yeah, so we offer free estimates for defined projects. So if you have a tree you need removed, a tree you need trimmed, you need trees planted, we will come out and provide you quotes for free on that. We do charge for arborist evaluations, and that's kind of evolved as well too. We started just doing it for free, and then it's such a burden, for Dan, because and so we started charging $150, but then we're like, all right, well, but we'll credit that back if you move
Mm.
forward with our recommended treatment plan. But that didn't slow anything down either, and so we started an experiment. Like, all right, now we're just charging $150, and what that gets you is a certified, highly credentialed, certified arborist with years of experience will come out. He will assess, diagnose, and put together recommended treatment plans for your property. Typically, that for a normal average Michigan property in our area, that will take up to an hour. And so we've started doing that, and honestly, the tire kickers it filters them out, which I think is a good thing. But really, people are, yeah, let's do it. So they sign
Mm.
right on. And yeah, and then we have the ground. We leverage groundwork for virtual quotes as well too, which is great. It helps for plant healthcare as well too, because people can kind of give a video of what's going on, so that Dan can then show up with some homework already done,
Mm.
and some things prepared for them. But also, there's a lot we've been successful with just quoting removals and trim jobs from videos as well too. So
Mm.
um,
Great.
yeah, I'd like to continue to push that more, just because it saves a lot of time. But yeah, it works great.
That's super. So, are you coming into your third year now or fourth year?
Yeah, it's our third season. Yeah, this is our third
Mm.
year. Yep.
What's your plan going on from here? I suppose you're going to grow the company, grow the teams, focus more. I think I'm hearing on plant healthcare.
Yeah, so running through the numbers for July, which again we had our summer. It was like a big plant healthcare month, because usually it's staggered in like a spring, summer, and fall treatment plan. Um, I guess what it kind of changed how we were thinking about growth, because you know it's either like, so you have to maximize the capacity of your for like the cut crew. Like, you need to make sure you're maximizing their capacity. And then like if you wanted to grow the cut crew, then it's like, all right, well, we need to add a new crew. Um, and I guess we're less excited about doing that, and more excited about just getting our plant healthcare business up to full capacity, and then continuing to add trucks there. The investment's less, the profits more, And so I think long term, like our vision is, let's get 2 or 3 plant healthcare trucks with full routes, that are
Mm.
working 6 months of the year, because we're in Michigan. You can't be treating. Most of the work is done in 6 months for plant healthcare. And then let's just have one highly mechanized, highly skilled tree removal and cut crew, and just get them at full capacity, and then see where we want to go. But I think the focus now for us is, we always need to have the capacity and the capability to remove any size tree for our customers. But I think we're going to focus more on plant healthcare and building that up in the coming
Mm.
years. And I think that's just going to feed the cut crew and
Yeah,
give
makes
us
sense.
give us profit to spend on it as well.
Yeah, and it just seems like you're positioning yourselves as the real experts in the region as well. You're not just
Yeah.
a bunch of guys with chainsaws who come and hack down trees. You're seriously positioning yourself as experts.
Right, for sure. I think we are doing a good job of that.
Fantastic.
Most of the credit for that goes to Dan. So,
Hmm. And you're going to be an arborist soon as well, I think you said.
yeah. I tried. I thought I was able to take the test. I went through the whole study. I took a class on it, and I showed up for the test. But apparently, they denied my application to take it because you need 3 years of experience.
Hmm.
And I thought you could bypass that with a college degree. Someone told me that. I probably should have looked into it more deeply. But yeah, it's yeah, I guess my degree wasn't
Hmm.
related enough to forestry to qualify. So yeah, I'll be an arborist. Uh, this coming spring.
That's
So
amazing.
hopefully be able to take some of the load off
That's
Dan
amazing.
in terms of arborism.
How are you enjoying the career change? Do you think it was something that you can now see you're doing in foreseeable future, and it was just a great decision to make when you did it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving it.
Hmm.
It's a lot more pressure in some ways, but it's a lot less pressure. Sales is a
Hmm.
high pressure job, so I was kind of used to the pressure. This is, I would say, more like I find myself I'm working a lot more hours, like for sure, like it's not even close. But it doesn't feel like work oftentimes. It's just
Hmm.
it's just something that needs to get done. It's things I enjoy doing. I don't know how to put it, but it's just there's something different about working for yourself versus putting in time
Hmm.
working for someone else.
I think
Um,
you're in control of your destiny somewhat, aren't you?
yeah,
And you're able to make decisions. You're able to push things the way you want to push them, and almost
right,
live the life you want to live while you're doing it as well.
right. Because sales is the type of thing where you do see direct results from the effort you put in.
Hmm.
But there's always the thing where you have a good year in sales and you know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to change the comp plan because you got paid
Hmm.
too much, kind of deal. And so that kind of feels like, I don't know, that little that's something that just you can't control that.
Hmm.
And where this, it's just, yeah, we're completely in control of our destiny. Um, it's less about competing with our local competitors and more just if we do the right things, we're gonna grow for sure. Like
Yeah.
what they do, honestly, is not a super concern to
Hmm.
us. And it's just focusing on us and focusing on getting better every day.
Well, actually, that's an important lesson as well, isn't it? If you focus on yourself more than your competitors, you're actually just going in a direction. You're doing something very positive, and you're not worried about what other people are doing. You're probably going to have a more positive impact on your clients and yourself as well, I guess.
Yeah, and that's kind of a lesson, meeting and talking to some of the even just in passing, but there I've met a lot of the larger competitors in our area, and they could not be less concerned about us or any other tree service.
Hmm.
They're worried about themselves. They wish you the best. They're nice guys. It's very
Right.
it's a very like positive culture, I think, around like people that own tree services.
Mm,
But yeah, I think that's the lesson I learned from them is like it's clear that they're focused on their guys and their equipment and their customers. They're not focused on the new tree service that pops up every month or so.
mm.
So it's yeah, that's kind of my takeaway out from
Yeah, it takes a lot less stress off you as well when you're not chasing other people and worrying
right,
about what they're doing.
right, for sure.
That's awesome. So we're going to wrap up soon because we
Yep.
just hit the top of the hour there. But just if you're going to give one piece of advice to somebody who, maybe they're an arborist, they've started their own tree service company and they want to grow and they haven't been growing, maybe they're still using their spreadsheets or maybe word of mouth referrals, etc. What's one piece of advice you could give them?
You build your business in a way that someone would want to buy it, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you even want to sell it at some point. But the reason companies that buy, like private equity firms, the reason private equity firms will buy one company versus another is because they have their books in order. It's because they have a CRM system that manages and organizes all their customer information. It's because their payrolls clear and it is in order. And so it's just the reason they value those things is because it signifies that a business is well run,
Mm.
and there's no surprises. And so I would just say like organization and just build your company in a way that if 10 years down the road someone approaches you saying they'd want to buy it, you'd have something to present that's not just equipment and a customer list.
Mm. Actually, I was just looking on my computer here because when you said that, it reminded me of a book that I'd read a couple of years ago called "Built to Sell" by John Warrillow, and it talks about exactly that. I've got a business, and I want to get out of it, or maybe it's not going the way I want it to go. How do I get it to a position where I can sell it and do something else with my life? So
Right.
it's about a company that creates icons for businesses like logos and so forth.
Yeah.
But I think every tree service company owner should probably read that as well, actually.
Yeah,
So,
because I mean, if your brand is meaningless, literally, I mean, there's tree services that sell all the time, and it's literally just equipment.
right.
It's oftentimes just equipment because like you might have a customer list, but if they don't recognize your brand, then that customer list is worthless.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Where can people find you and connect with you and follow you on your journey?
Yeah, so you can follow Ascension Tree Care on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter or X. I think it's Tree Guy Dave is my handle. And yeah, I guess I'm on LinkedIn too, but I don't really check LinkedIn too often.
Awesome. Dave, thanks so much for being the first guest on my podcast. I truly, truly appreciate this
Yep.
opportunity to talk to you. And what you said was extremely valuable. So hopefully other people will be able to take a lot of positive points on running a business from you there.
Yeah. No worries. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Graham.
Take care.